All right, let me know when you guys can see my screen. I had some drawing, but some homework a little bit here before getting on with you guys. Help me for a second. We'll zoom out to the yearly and then kind of reestablish the higher time frame stuff what we're looking at. All right, can you guys see my screen? Hear me well?
Yes, we see it.
All right, so the key is, right, as you guys know, this is your 2024 value area high sitting, call it at 5,700. And then right at 5641, we have the developing of 2025. It's not really critical level, but it's a zone that you should be paying attention to. It also happens to be a kind of LVN in between. So I would say mark this zone on your chart. So I have it marked up, right? But this is what's on the table, right? Is there a higher chance that they can pull back tomorrow? Certainly, right? But as of right now, they're really in control. They're gaining momentum to the upside, right? There's a lot of buyers showing up. But I would think that this is going to be a critical zone, right? So I did mark this on my chart, as you guys can see here. So it's the 2024 value area high and 2025 value area low overlap. And that's the zone here. And if you take this FVP here, I'm just going to hide this for a moment. Well, hide this. If you just take basically a year and a half worth of volume profile and you draw it, also POCs there. And if you take the all-time high anchored VWAP, which is this one here, the blue line, it's also there. There's a lot of big stuff in this zone. And just think about it. We had a pretty nice rally, guys. I mean, I know it doesn't seem like it.
We can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, I know. The kids. So we had about 15% rally, which is pretty substantial rally when you think about it. After the drop that we had from all-time high, we dropped about 21%, and you recover 15%. That's pretty good because you're 5%, 6% from here. Get to here. Trap a lot of tape.
You're choppy again. Yeah.
What about now?
We can hear you.
So this is a critical zone. Make sure you mark these levels here, and there's quite a bit, right? So if I zoom in a little bit, you guys will see, there's also a gap at 56.1075. You have the March value area low, you have the 1.5 year POC, and then you have this massive zone that we just explained, right? Which is 24 value area high and 24 overlap. This is not really a level where you're going to go long, at least not in my book, right? This is a level where you want to be cautious a little bit and see, do they fail to find any buyers right now? Overnight the auction is slowing down a little bit, but that doesn't mean much, right? But this is going to be a key zone here. Okay. Any questions on the big stuff?
Nope.
Zoomed out. Does it make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
So now we
Yeah.
just a little bit on the 1 month, right? Let's see. Let's go here on now. You guys look at this. Let's go just on 8 hours so we can make sure it's on ETH. This is a pretty big setup here. So I can't even tell you how dangerous this is for a lot of buyers that are buying here. Does everybody see why I'm saying that?
Yeah, it looks like retest short.
Where would you guys take this short? Like, where would you feel comfortable taking it short?
Below 5509.
Ideally below the POC, right? Ideally, you want to be somewhat below this POC. But let's say right now, they have, when you look at this, let's say a 4-hour candle here, it looks pretty bearish, right? And this one looked pretty bearish, but this one does look like a bearish kicker here. So if they continue that, look what they're doing. Pay attention to this right here. Did they establish buying here?
No.
No, they established selling. At least I don't see it yet, right? And the market's not shown yet. Maybe we, rip higher and fill that gap. If you guys remember, it starts at 55.40 and it ends at 5,610.75. Can they do that? Yeah, certainly. They'll be also anchored all-time high VWAP, so they could do that. But as of right now, if they lose this right now at the start of the week, which is also our prior 2-week high, which we'll be getting in a second here, and it's April developing value area high. So if you go on a daily, pretty sure I marked it correctly. Maybe I was, maybe a little bit higher. Yeah. So I guess April developing value is a little bit higher here. So you guys can change it, but I'll keep this and I'll explain why. Oops. So if we lose this level here, let's say that we were on 55.20, it's a big deal. We talked about the fibs. Does anyone know where that fib falls? The 50%. Well, let's take a look at it. This one doesn't seem right. Mine was at 56, like 17. Let's see. So it's right around 56.17 is also the 50% retracement of the whole thing, right? So if they lose this level, guys, there's a probably high chance, the March low is sitting at 55.09. And why would that be important? If I tell you, hey, we went above inside the March low and now we're not able to sustain it, what would that mean? Like, what does it mean to you as a trader?
They're not accepting the March value and they're starting framing down on the monthly.
Yeah, there's a high chance, right? If this is our March low and this is our March high, you try to get in and you're getting rejected. Then if you lose this POC, guys, this can be also a quick flush here. And you're talking about 300-400 points on ES, right? So we got to watch how they behave around this value area high and the 2-week high. Let me show you the 2-week high so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna hide a bunch of stuff so you guys can see it. So remember this high, we had an inside week, we talked about it, right? It's really not a breakout till you break the highs and lows of the prior weeks. Our 2-week high is sitting somewhere around, call it 55.22. And if this is the breakout and if this fails, what do we continue having? What is the market telling you then?
Range.
We're in a range. And what do you do when you have a bracketed market, something like this?
Sell the top, buy the bottom.
Yeah, we're looking for us to lose this POC, guys. If you lose this, look at the stacking of these weekly POCs, right? The value is shifting higher, but what do you notice about last week's profile? Is there any danger anywhere that you guys see?
It's an outside bar for last week.
It's an outside bar. And what do you do with the outside stuff?
Play the break.
Yeah, play.
So-
And if they continue tomorrow, let's say tomorrow the PDH, previous day highs open, crack it open out of the open drive, go with it. Most likely they're going to fill the gap. So for me, tomorrow, as long as they can hold, I would say, if they can hold the gap here from weekly standpoint, if they can hold this 55.40, it has a chance to continue, right? This is just weekly levels. If they can hold a 55.40, there's a high chance they can then, rip it into the gap. But if they fail this cluster of levels, let's say between 22 and maybe 16, you lose that zone. You're going to go to March low, and then ultimately you're going to this prior week POC, which is sitting right here. And this one happens to be what? Is there anything else there that would be
The prior week's value area high.
prior week value area high and prior week what? High.
High.
So you guys see how stacked these levels are? Every level is carrying multiple levels to it, right? There's weekly inside bar high. So now think about this. If you're gonna kind of short this, right? You could take a short below this level. Let's say gap 55.40. Put a gap, put a stop above these recent highs that we had, Friday's highs, and then just let it run. Let it run all the way probably to this prior week VPOC, right? You lose that, then you have the April developing POC and another weekly POC sitting right there as well, 50, 40, 63. If they lose this opens up the playbook for us really nicely, guys, to target some, value area lows here, probably close to, 53.33 all the way to 53.10. And on SPY, right, for you guys, whoever trades SPY, that'll be about 527. So think about it. You would be shorting 540s to 527. I'm sorry, even, 527. So that's pretty good returns, right, on SPY. You could probably target 2-3 weeks out, and that could play out. Any questions? Just gonna hide these clouds here for a second.
Yeah, where do you have your April POC? I have mine's like 53.10 or something.
Just for a second.
Oh, I just changed. Okay, maybe 54.65 maybe now. Fuck.
There's a voice of regret. Yeah, my April developing is 54.65.
Yeah, mine is too. I have my roll size at 100, not 200, so I got it. That's what I got. Thanks.
All right. So does that make sense? But we are peaking above April value area high, guys. We did it here. If this fails to break tomorrow, I'm telling you, there's a high chance they're just going to reverse and start dumping it. I would not be surprised if tomorrow some hot news. China, tariffs, new COVID, whatever it is, expect some bad news tomorrow. If they fail to break the previous day high, all the bad news are going to be in tomorrow. Who's Mazda? Oh, the car? Oh, okay. Sorry, I was like, man. Can see more of that. And there's a lot of daily VPOCs here, guys. Virgin POCs. There's a whole lot. Wow. Was build manufacturing. Wow. All right. All right. Last piece. Take a look at TPO. Should be a lot of fun footprints here on TPO or structure. And they really created a ledge there, Tom, when we talked about the 55.40. What they did here.
Yeah.
They really, I mean, if they failed that level, it's gonna be pretty brutal. So for TPOC, man, 54.93 is gonna be fairly important too. You see this prior week POC, also value area high. This is gonna be a fairly important level for them. Here. So to me, it looks like we also have a poor high. Pretty shitty structure all in between here.
I mean, it would suck if they executed this downfall of OVN, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be ideal.
For me, it would suck because I'm not trading OVN, so.
I know it would suck, but it would be good for the spy puts.
Yeah, how that?
They're already starting to bring it down.
Good. I loaded up some spy puts. Ideally, they don't crack this prior day high, but there is a prior week has a. I would mark this right. This is weekly high. The halfback for last week is a 53.21. God almighty, they really had a nice run. Last piece, I just have to check the daily. See what we got there. Nothing worth paying attention to. So we do have a poor high. We definitely got a poor high here, huh?
Right now they're at the midpoint.
Daily?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. At 55.17? Kidding.
They're at 55.24
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
ETA.
They might not give it to us, Tom, if they fail here. They should be bouncing here. This is a look. I mean, this is a really important level for them to hold.
Yeah.
Well, they're executing some of the stuff, right? Losing the 55.40 was a pretty quick trade, 55.20s. This is where I would have taken it off, right? Meaning if I shorted here, you know, you trim here, they catch a bounce, they lose that, then you're looking for March low, potentially a bounce. But I think this is where I would expect it to go. But for me, this was the key level on the weekly, right? Losing this prior 2-week high is really enforcing and setup of what? If you lose that, you have to learn what that means. Tom, don't answer it. And Erica, don't answer it. If you lose this here, what is the market telling you?
They want lower.
What are they telling you about? No, don't. If they lose the 2-week high and it happens to be April developing value area high, market's indicating what about the auction and acceptance higher?
That is stopping.
That means we did
April
not find
as
any new
POC.
buyers. We did not find buyers. And on the daily, what seemed like a poor high could be what? Why was that poor high created?
Our exhaust.
It'll be buyer exhaustion, right? I mean, you almost have, I know this is probably an end period at the top with H and I. Yeah. So you have two periods basically equal highs, right? That could be a clear. I mean, look at this bar that they had here. Somebody was not messing around when they dropped it from here all the way down. You're talking about, 50, 40 points in a second, and then they drove it back up. Remember, I mentioned that, man, I'm afraid that they have that poor high. They're going to come back to it, and I hated it. And they basically drove it back on Friday. So now, if they can't, that was definitely exhaustion on a daily. Most likely, I would say, revisit this. I would say POC. I would find they're using SVP, not this. Flip it to the right side. So it happens to be the POCs all the way at 55.48, which was another indication. If you lose that and the value area high, then most likely you're looking somewhere to go 13, right? I would say this is a very, very strong chance they're going to be here in no time, probably tonight.
Shorty, how do you know that they didn't form more poor highs?
I'm sorry?
How would you know that they didn't form more poor highs?
In terms of dailies or?
In general, at 55, 53, or 55, 54.
Well, I know this is a poor high for sure, right? Because there's two periods right next to each other. You don't count the letter N, but H and I at the equal highs, that's a poor high. Okay. And I don't know if your question is, how do I know that there's none like above?
Yeah, well, I'm basically asking, like, could they retest that poor high again, or try to?
No, they definitely can. But think about, you also have to consider the shape and the profile that they're in. If a lot of buying and a lot of volume happened here and they go away from it, let's say they lose this PD value area low, what are they telling you about the value? What are the odds that they're going to retrace all the way back up and reach the high where major supply was there, right? Remember, we were right above that tariff gap. The odds are much higher to clean up poor highs and poor lows in what day type.
D shape.
D shape. Do you know why, Cream?
Not too sure.
All right, well, let's take a look at it. Let me give you a visual so that way you'll remember it. All right, so here's your D shape, right? This would be a perfect D shape profile. Agree?
Correct.
So this would be the shape. If I have a poor high here and poor high here, how much do I have to travel from this POC on both sides? Do you think D shapes have a wide balance or a little bit tighter balance?
A little bit tighter.
A little bit tighter. So instead of it being so wide, it's something like this maybe. So what are the odds that they can, fix this poor high in this tight range are higher than when you have, let's say, you have a P shape like this, and you left a poor high here, and you open below it. Now here, what are the odds? Remember, there is no interest trading here. Most likely they're going to sell it all the way down. Then what are the odds to clean this up? Higher or lower?
It gets lower.
Yeah, it gets
or
lower.
They tend
right?
to form more value at the bottom.
Exactly. So that's how you got to look at it. The day types will drive the odds of you fixing it, right? If they are, in the past 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks back, do you care too much? Probably not. On weeklies, yeah, you can mark the weeklies, but the dailies, I would keep it 5 days or less on the poor highs, poor lows.
I see. So it depends on, like, for a D shape, if they try to close, if they close at around the top or above the POC on the D shape, then you could target higher poor highs.
And above it, probably a high chance you're going to play.
I think your mic cut off on my end.
I said if they open above the PD POC in a D shape, right, and they hold it during the open 9:30, higher odds that you're going to visit value area high and ultimately clean up that poor high. That's how I would see it.
I see. And that would typically be more interesting for us because then the more the poor highs get swept, the more poor lows get left. Or we just have poor lows left.
Yeah, like for instance, this was not a poor low here. This auction completed. You have
Correct.
two
Okay.
TPOs, so that one's good. If you go here, there's a massive, right? There's a massive excess up here that starts at 50, 54, 55.
I
So
see.
not every day will have a poor high, poor low. I still think we have somewhere there was a poor low. There's a small ledge there, but usually it's rare to see a poor high and a poor low. That would mean what will happen in the auction?
They're unsure on either side.
Yeah, there's no confidence on either side, right? There's no other time frame participants. So most likely, it was just a short term and control.
Okay, that makes sense, and that answers all my questions. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. So far, so I think, there's a very high chance you're going to visit here overnight. If they give you this overnight and they do something like this, reclaim this, I would take this long. FYI. Let's say if we open, tomorrow below this 55.13, what do you think happens next?
Previous
open-
week
To the
POC.
94.75.
You open below this zone here, what happens next? What do you expect?
Previous week repoc.
Yeah, you would just play.
Played level by
This.
level.
Then you would go here. And then ultimately, what would you target? If you lose the prior week POC, where do you guys think we can go?
Very weak, very low.
Yeah.
It'd be a very, high chance that you're going to be targeting this right here. It would be your halfback as well as your value area low, like somewhere around here. You lose this, there's a strong chance here. But I want to show you something pretty interesting. Actually, I was watching it just moments before we got on. So here's I'm just going to hide everything. Bring up the candles. Take a look at these 3 weeks here. What are you noticing, right? We have higher highs, right? Higher lows.
So for the first 2 weeks, everything shifted upwards. For the third week, the value area low shifted down, but everything else shifted up.
Okay. Take a look at this week. Do you guys remember these 3 weeks when we were running after that initial dump? Then we had this bounce here. You guys remember this?
Yes.
Is there any similarities between these?
Yeah, they ended up going to the first value area low, the first week.
Okay. Let me ask you the last question. I will leave it up to you guys to make a decision to think of it. Which one had a better trend? This one or this one?
I would say the first one, it wasn't overlapping.
Okay. There's 3 things that measure the trend performance on volume profile. What are they, Eric?
Volume.
Value placement?
With the value placement there, value area width, and value area
Volume.
placement. Yeah,
And
volume.
Yep.
Yep.
So now if you guys compare them, while they look the same, who was participating here? And how can you tell?
Other
Short
time
term.
frame.
Was there a lot of other time frame participants here?
Nope.
No.
How do you know, Tom?
Very narrow value areas.
Yeah,
And
they didn't facilitate it correctly, right? I mean, this one here is also like this one here. Think about it. This one is wider than this one, and this one is wider than both of these. This one here is pretty wide for us, which means that when we dipped low, there were some other parties interested when we went low, right? That's what this is indicating. Everybody agree? So let me flip
Yep.
this to the right. And look what we got, right? We got nice weekly access. I think it's somewhere around here. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. Right here. Just add some text here. Okay, so this is telling us, yeah, there were some other time frame participants coming in that week, right? And they drove the price pretty high, right? And then, they came back the second week, they retraced it back, right, all the way to that value that they created, and they disagreed on this. What I'm talking about, this was a creation of value on the bottom. They're accepting, they rejected it, and look what they did. They came back again, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to trade in the bottom. We want to trade higher. And that was a clear sign they want higher prices. But we still obviously didn't clear that 2-week high. Like I said, if we fail this level, it's very, very important because they're most likely going to 53, this zone here. The green zone would be the zone where you're targeting, 53.20. And like I said, 53.20 is 528, 526 on SPY. Okay. So that's why it's a big level and the participation is different, right? Here, there's a lot of short-term traders. Here, there's a lot of other time frame participants, but the value stacking is not like here. So is there a lot of mixed messages you're getting? Anyone?
I think there is.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixed messages. First, you got the buyer stepping in. That's a fact, right? Then you have short-term buyers failing to make higher highs because short-term traders are happy trading where?
In the value.
Inside the value. They look for fair value, guys. They're not looking for advantageous prices. Other people are, other time frame participants. And they found it and they brought it. One gap, two gaps, and maybe they filled a gap with a gap. I don't know. Maybe they do something crazy overnight, but that we have a lots of gaps and a lot of poor structure, guys. To fail to 53.20 is doable like tomorrow. Any single bad news, we're back to this zone. Weekly halfback and also prior week value area lowest here as well. Is everybody following? Anyone confused? So in the future, could you spot the similarities and differences between the two trends? Like this one actually had a better trend, value placement. The volume was not, I would say not the greatest. So take a look at the volume. Which one had more volume between here or here? This period here or this period here? Which one do you see a lot of more candles, I guess, above the average? Here or here?
Wow. I
Last
think
one.
in the last one.
Yeah, the last one had more, and that would make sense because if we have a wider value and there's a lot more participants, then other time frame players are coming in and snatching stuff or selling stuff with volume, correct? So that checks out. But now if we fail, I'm telling you, if this level cracks right here, what is this? 54.95? Oh boy, like there's gonna be a quick elevator down.
That's the previous week POC.
That's correct. Yeah. So if you lose that level, oh man, it just opens up. It will just basically flush from here. I would say, it looks like somewhere like this. It would be fast. I'm gonna make it not fast, but here it will just go. Okay. Are you guys following? Anyone confused? Did I say anything that confused you?
I think what 54.95 to 90 or whatever that area is was like
Huge.
previous week POC, previous day value area low, previous day
Yep.
value area low, and was a 2-week CPOC or something. That's important zone then, yeah.
Oh, huge. That's basically if you lose that level, you can load up some puts. like load up some puts. You do have the stacking of these POCs if you guys look on the weekly, like 54.75. Then you have another one here at 54.61. But this one, I don't know how much I care. This was more of a selling here. Can it be as a support? Sure, they had a little bit of accumulation here. But this zone here is also be problematic for fair traders, right? It's a reversion to the mean, so they're going to anticipate it. But I would be targeting something like this. This would be what I'm after. You know, they slow down here, offer a bounce, go back, and then if they fail, right, and it would just really be a nice short all the way down. But yeah, that's you can put a few points around it, right? Since it is a major, it would be 2-week probably POC right in that area there. 54.73 is a 2-week POC. So sure that doesn't shift because it looks a little low. Okay. So 54.66 and 65 minutes. Okay. Any questions? So for me, this is a fairly important level for me right here. You lose that, you're starting the elevator down. See how are they doing? They bounce. Yeah, they did. That's a good candle for long, guys. Pretty good candle for long here. You guys see this? Yeah, this is not bad. Bad candle. You're patient. I'm pretty certain they're gonna trap these maybe and bring it back here, and then you could target this as long as this holds, right? All right. Any questions from anyone? Does it make sense? Confused?
Nope.
Oh, good. Thank you, man.
All right, guys.
Thank you,
I'll be live tomorrow. I'll trade with you guys in the morning, and we'll see if we can be in and out.
Thanks, Shorty.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.